Did you ever wonder what happened to Bill and Ben, the Flowerpot Men? Well, after many years of building and making flower pots, they decided to turn it into a business. But Bill and Ben just could not agree for a name for the company or how it would be structured. So they went to see Little Weed. Little Weed said to them, "Why don't you both set up your own business, and then after a year see who's doing the best, and then the other one can join them?" That seemed like a super idea, and they thanked Little Weed for that suggestion. So Bill decided to call his company Bill's Flower Pots. He'd seen an advert in the local paper about the Regional Development Agency wanting to help new businesses, so he rang them, and eventually he got through to a very nice man who introduced him to another organisation called the Business Chain. The Business Chain had been set up by the government, and they had a local office in the northeast of England. Bill got in touch with the Business Chain and met a wonderful lady who was really helpful, asking lots and lots of questions. And she introduced him to a company that was going to help build him a website. And this company was very excited about the possibility of building a website. They were going to do animated graphics, they were going to do flash movies and all kinds of wonderful things to make his site look wonderful. And Bill was very impressed. And then he was introduced to this smart man who was called a search engine optimization expert. And what he was going to do, he was going to help Bill to get his company or his website at the top of a search engine. Well, that sounded wonderful to Bill. That's just exactly what he wanted. And then he was introduced to a company who deals with public relations. And this man said he was going to help him get all his messages sent out and become published in the local newspapers and everything, because only a few messages ever get published, so you really need somebody like a PR consultant to make sure that your messages are produced. And then he was introduced to somebody who was going to help promote the image of the business. There would be lots of business cards and brochures and materials, and there would be lots of things, so lots of things needed to be developed with that. And Bill was amazed at all the wonderful things that was going to be done for his company. And then he was introduced to another smart man who was an expert in advertising. And what he was going to do was to help Bill get the prime position in magazines and peak time on television and everything. So Bill had all of these people who were going to help him build his business. It was going to cost an awful lot amount of money, but there would be some subsidies and sub-grants available, and everybody seemed so willing to help him. So Bill set off about building his business. Ben, surprisingly enough, called his company Ben's Flower Pots. But instead of going to the way that Bill had gone with his company, Ben went to a site called the Northeast Business Centre, which was a setup for the Northeast business community that anybody could go to, and it was totally free. And he met some lovely people there. And one of the first things they told him when he was talking about setting up his business was, "Ben, you need to be where your customers are." So what we've done is we've set up lots of communities between us, so that your potential customers will have loads of content in a particular area, and all you do is present your business there. Ben thought that was an amazing idea, but it wasn't anything special, they said. If you think about it, if you were setting up a shop, you wouldn't put it in the middle of nowhere. You'd go somewhere like the Metro Centre or the Bridges or one of the shopping centres. That sounded quite clever to Ben. And then Ben said, "Well, how do I get my messages over about my special offers and about my new products and services?" I said, "Oh, that's fine. It's totally free. We've created a message board area for each of our marketplace areas where you can put messages on totally free." And Ben was amazed at that and quite happy. And then they said, "And also if you use something like Twitter to put messages up, which is free, you can have your own message board in there." And Ben said, "And is that free as well?" And he says, "Yes, that's free." So Ben was getting very happy now. He says, "What else is there?" Well, they said to him, "If you want to put loads of different types of content, videos and pictures and all that, we have a special offer which is just £60 a year, and you can put as many messages and as much content as you wish, and there's a whole range of tools, put all kinds of content." Ben thought that was absolutely wonderful. And then Ben thought, well, what if I want to really help grow my business a bit more? Well, they said we have some special offers called the Advantage offers, which can give you a prime position in the community of your choice where you'll be right there in front of them, and that ranges from just £120 a year, which is less than the price of a first class stamp per day, to a maximum value to sponsor a whole area, which is only £360, and that will give you the prime position. Ben was very, very happy with that. But Ben asked a question, but what about getting the image of my company and to improve that? And they said, well, in a network world, you don't really need to do that, Ben, because if you're a good company, everybody will start talking about you. And because you're around there all the time, people will get to know you really well. So it won't cost you anything to build your business up. So after a year of running their businesses, Little Weed got Bill and Ben back together again to see who would come off better. Do you think it was Bill, who had all of these expenses and all this lots of money and creating websites and search engine optimization and press releases? Or do you think it was Ben, who was starting to sell straight away and making lots of friends? It's really up to you to decide. That's the end of the presentation. We'd like to make a few points clear that the Northeast Regional Development Agency is in fact a fictitious name, and we meant it to bear no resemblance to any regional development agency actually based in the northeast of England. And similarly, the word business chain is also a fictitious name, and we had no intention of getting that to represent anything that actually exists in the northeast of England. The pictures of Bill and Ben are actually the real puppets, which you can see at the London Museum. All we can say now is, why not join us in the painless revolution, and together we can help you reach more relevant customers more often, do it more effectively for far less cost.